come out to play. Warriors, 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 come out to play.
Nick Jordan here with Weekend Warriors. Smell my fucking beer. Might be able to hear behind me. It's the operators fucking rocking out. I'm gonna go check it out. Won't you join me?
Hey, it's Benron. I can't make court. Tried to call Bull at least 1,000 times. Sure, you've already heard about it. Chopped litter is a fucking bitch. All I have to do is answer the fucking phone and they would know last minute shit came up. I can't make it. Don't worry. We'll get our fucking $20. Fucking bastards. Not one of you can answer your fucking phones. Fuck you. Fuck all.
Inside the
was that? All right. Welcome to Weekend Warriors. I'm Nick Jordan. And with me, as always, is Shep. And this is a show where we tell you guys about cool shit that happened over the weekend, show you some videos that we catch and whatnot. And then we talk to a cool guest and then tell you about things coming up next weekend in case you want to mark your calendars. So let's get into the video that we just saw. Operators, that was this Friday, last Friday at the Mel. They did a Carb Day party there, and Operators fucking always just kill it and are one of the best bands to see live, period. And also playing that show was the Come-Alongs, who had filled in for the pilots who ended up dropping off of that. No, I think that's what happened.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. And the band played as well. And the Pork and Beans Brass Band. And I think we got a couple more videos to show you from that show. So I don't know which one you've got loaded up first. Is it Pork and Beans or Come-Alongs?
Let's see. I got the Come-Alongs up first.
All right.
They were all really good.
So
check it out.
here's the Come-Alongs.
Come-Alongs? Well, yeah.
Pork and Beans.
The Come-Alongs, everybody. And man, I gotta give it up. Jeff Park was running sound that night. Jeff and he were like the sound guys at the Mel.
Top notch.
So good.
Best.
Sound there is
Some
awesome.
of the best in town for sure.
Hell yeah. And it was great to see Jeff, like an El Jefe, fan. So yeah, that was the Come-Alongs. And then we've also got a video from something that was just really original. Is Pork and Beans Brass Band. Really neat the way the drummer is. It's like two guys playing drums, and just a really neat setup with all brass instruments and shit. Which technically saxophone is a woodwind, right? If I'm remembering.
It's a reed.
Yeah. So they're not all brass instruments technically. So yeah.
It can't be pork and beans, mostly brass.
Right.
Pork and brass, and who knows?
But super good. Check out this video. I think you guys will agree. So that was the Pork and Beans Brass Band. What do you think, Shep, man? Like,
hell yeah.
Cool shit, right?
I've been dancing.
Yeah. Love seeing it. Like, you know, it's, you see a lot of guitars and basses and drums. You just don't see a lot of horn bands and whatnot. So really cool to see shit like that. I think we got some other shows lined up here to talk about. And then we'll get to the Tigers from last night. Talk a little bit about that because that was fucking awesome. So we had at Long Shot on Friday, Influence the Midwest Invasion Tour, featuring Wida and Indie Death Crew, and they had no ring wrestling. All fucking chaos.
Hell yeah.
And saw some videos from that. Long Shot, love them. Big shout out to letting them do stuff like that. Like no ring wrestling. I can only imagine that's all over the building. Probably some light bulbs getting broken and who knows, right?
Craziness.
And then also at State Street on Friday, they had Fed Ash, Cadaverette, and Iota. Do you have that one? That's the open paint thing. Well, let's talk about that. Also, last night at State Street was an open paint free art collective event. Create art with fellow indie artists, share ideas. You know, it's basically like bring BYOP, bring your own paint. And they had like lots of supplies out for everybody, and hope they really had a good turnout for that. Hopefully that's something that we can like see grow. Things that, you know, artists and musicians and just people that are out kind of doing shit, coming together and being able to bounce ideas off each other and feed off each other's energy. Things that kind of facilitate that, I think, are really great. So more of that. Then we also had where are we at, Playboy? Is it time for the wedding?
Yeah.
All right. So the reception last night, which we were lucky enough to be at the wedding and the reception, had just such a great day. Congratulations to our friends Sid and Benny. They tied the knot, and just awesome ceremony and reception, and it was really beautiful and such a great time, and so happy for them. And so then last night, the reception was at Punk Rock Night, and we had it was us and us being tight like a tiger and Mr. Clit, Pink Cigarettes. Band had to fall off, shell shots, unfortunately. I think somebody in the band was like coming back from China, had been delayed for a couple days. So hopefully home safe now, but wasn't able to make the show. So we and Mr. Clinton, the Pink Cigarettes, held it down though, and it was such a great fucking party. The place got trashed, good and proper, as you'll have with a Tight Like a Tiger show. And then Mr. Clit did what they do, which is always just,
Hell yeah,
you know, an amazing show from beginning to end. So I think we got a couple of videos from that. I will say, are you showing Tigers first and then
Mr. Clip first?
Mr. Clip first?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do that, and then I'll talk a little bit about our song that we got on here. And Mr. Clit and the Pink Cigarettes, and it was my first time seeing them live, and man, no, I'm just kidding. I think we've played with them probably more than any other band. If I had to take a guess, we've been playing with Mr. Clit and the Pink Cigarettes since forever ago, since we were young lads.
That's the invention of the cigarettes.
So it was awesome hanging with old friends and celebrating the wedding and everything. And so as kind of a gift to Benny and Sydney, we wanted to debut our brand new song that we had never played live yet. So that it was first time to perform it, and it's called Saved. And I hope they enjoyed like getting that as for their party, you know, first performance, something new. Not every day we get to drop a new song. So, but But yeah, anyway, was super excited to get this song into the world. We've been working on it for a minute, and I'm really proud of it. So show that one, Playboy.
Absolutely.
Can it be that I don't see my missing something? Caught up with God, looked up and saw her holding the key, and I found my head in a rain. My world turned blue. I was healed, I was saved, I could deal with. Took up my cross and I dragged it across the plains and valleys, straight in the wood, the best that I could, and it made me holy. My Catholic saints, and they all went away. Happy Savior, what made there be in a spiritual where we grew. And now, oh, and now, heaven, away, their hands held new. They were healed, they were saved, they can deal with it now. Their heads were raised, their hands held new. They were healed, they were saved, yeah, they were saved, yeah, they were saved, yeah, they were saved. Now that you're here in the woods, just a really your faith is growing. So take up your cross and drag it across the dance floor. Go now, now, go ahead and raise your hands and know you are healed and you're saved. You can feel it now. Your hands and raise your hands and know you are healed and you're saved. Yeah, you're all saved. Yeah, you're all saved. Yeah, you're all saved. Praise God.
And joining us right now, our guest, a man who needs no introduction. And if you've been in this town paying any attention to local music, then you've come across the name, and the man himself, Rich Barker, joining us. He's wanting to talk about how awesome that fucking song that we just showed you.
Oh, he actually asked me last night after the show. It's like, what'd you think of that new song? I really liked it.
Yeah.
It's got that insistent drive sound to it, and vocals just dancing on top of it. Fits your vibe. Definitely very much a Tight Like a Tiger song, and I was digging it. You could see the whole crowd was into it too.
Yeah, man. We have balloons and streamers. If you've never seen Tight Like a Tiger play, like
Silly string,
silly string,
You can smell the
out.
aerosol, whatever they use as a propellant in that.
Strippers, cocaine, it works.
Bubbles.
Not all that.
I
No,
know.
it's a good time.
I'm just kidding.
It's funny because at the wedding, like after the reception, which Rob, who owns the Mel with Dave, Rob had officiated the wedding. And so we're all like chatting outside after that. And I looked at him, I was like, I'm going to destroy your fucking bar tonight, bro. He's like, I know. And we did. It was a resounding success, and Mr. Clit fucking killed it. And just such a great party for some good friends of ours. And Rich, you know, PRN is kind of like just this big family. When people, you know, they're not the first couple to have a wedding and reception.
We have a
as
couple
part
of
of
years.
Punk Rock
Actually.
Night.
Yeah. Your bands get married there. Bands have receptions there. A lot of people
definitely
meet there
engagements,
and end
right?
up getting married, and sometimes since they get married and start a family, we don't see them as much.
Yeah.
But it's part of life. It's just good to have them as part of the
I
PRN
don't
family.
think I don't think it's actually a legitimate excuse at all.
No.
You know,
No.
you could still come out on a Saturday night.
Come on, get a babysitter.
Exactly.
Always a
So,
good show.
how long has PRN been going, man?
24 years this October.
Yeah.
So next year is our big 25. Hopefully, have a big party.
Man,
Maybe
it
do
just
something
seems
extra
like
special.
yesterday that we were doing the 20th anniversary.
I
doesn't
know.
it?
Made those special 20th anniversary
Flying
shirts
by.
and stuff. Yeah.
Flying by. So through the years, obviously, so many bands have came through and whatnot, and have had an opportunity to play just something that's so established. How did PRN start, and how it tell me about the early days of PRN and kind of
Well,
how it got established.
Most people know it was founded by Greg Brenner, still involved with PRN. He's kind of retired from work and is vacationing a lot, enjoying his retirement, but he's still part of the establishment and helps out. But he started it mainly to give some of his friends a place to play. And it was originally in a different venue, and on a Sunday they moved it to the Mel, and on a Saturday, finally it's like, hey, why don't we do this every Saturday? And Dave's like, what, every Saturday? This is by the time Rob and David owned the Mel.
I was wondering,
and it
which
has
came
been ever
first.
since.
Yeah.
Rob and David owned the Mel about a year after PRN started, so we were dealing with some the old owners. I've been playing the Mel since late '90s, just a few years before PRN started. We used to have to bring our own PA. There's no PA. We'd have to load up our car, bring the PA,
Yeah.
and run everything ourselves. But in fact, the first PA that was used there after PRN started was Greg's PA, and they just kind of gave it to the Mel, and it's still parts of it there. They've replaced it piece by piece over the last 24 years as parts fail or go bad, or we need new gear. So
It's all kind of built around that same starting piece, though.
so that's it. Greg started it, and we keep it rolling. He's still involved. We got lots of PRN family. Shep helping us out, of course. Photographers. We have social media people. It's a big family of people helping our extended family, which is everyone who comes out to shows and performs. So
Now, so Greg started it. How did you become involved with it? Like, how did
well, I
come about?
actually played PRN during the first year. My band, Gay Black Republican, we've been around 23 years. So during Punk Rock Night's first year, we played about I think it was July of 2001, and that's when I first heard about it. It's like, hey, we're gonna play the Mel. Before GBR was GBR, some of the members were in another band called the Repeat Offenders, and they'd played Punk Rock Night or the Mel, and kind of some people knew who we were without us being GBR. And then when I joined the band, we became GBR and been playing ever since. I think there was like a 1 or 2 year gap where we didn't play Punk Rock Night, but it's been pretty consistent all these 23 years. So
At least once a year.
yeah, we don't play it that often anymore, mainly because everyone's so busy, and we kind of want to make people wait for a show. Like our
Yeah,
next
make
shows,
it an
actually
event.
Jay Clyde's, and
Yeah.
expecting a good
You
turnout.
got that flyer loaded up to show it since he's mentioned it here? Yeah, we're doing the big 10th anniversary of Chopped Liver. And you said it will be the 43rd anniversary of Gay Black Republican.
23rd, just about the right time.
And Stilling Volume going to be on that bill. And I mean,
Love
they've
those
been
guys.
around a long time too. Maybe not
They've
quite
probably
as
been
long
around
as
almost-
GBR.
No, I remember when actually Stilling Volume played one of their first shows at Locals Only. Remember that venue?
Oh yeah,
I believe
for
GBR
sure.
was on that bill too. Completely different lineup, but great band. You can tell they were going to be off to greatness, and luckily they're still around and even more amazing these days.
And we get to host a party at Jay Clyde's and have GBR and fucking Stilling Volume.
Be
It's going to be so cool.
Yeah, can't
And
wait.
that play, like, I would definitely say come early because Jay Clyde's will pack up. It
Yeah.
doesn't take a lot.
I've confirmed they
so-
got that new room open with the bands. You don't just have to cram the bands between the bar and the bathroom. They do have a new. They kind of bought the room next to it, and they've actually got a
So is
stage
there
band area now.
a fairly big area there?
I haven't
then?
seen it, but
They
Hey.
double their capacity when they added it on.
yeah.
Nice.
So now it's instead of like 50 or 60. It's somewhere between 100 and 130, somewhere in there. The fire marshal has to come out. I intend on, in my head at least, like there'll be enough people for the fire marshals to be like, we
No
should
more.
probably
Come on.
check those numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we're definitely hyping that show up because it's, Chopped Liver 10-year anniversary. So
Yeah, I put out
it's our
the,
party.
what do you call it? What is it? The media package or whatever. I already put that out. So
Nice.
hopefully more than just the typical followers of Chop Liver or whatnot will be able to see it and know that it's happening.
It's our first show of the
I
year.
hope so.
Hell yeah, for
Can't
sure.
wait.
So, speaking of shows, what are some Gay Black Republican shows early on in punk rock night history that you felt like there was like momentum growing for the band and maybe also for punk rock night at that time?
Wow. Yeah, our early days, we had a different lineup. Just 2 original members left, myself and the guitar player Pooh Daddy. So early on, we're still finding our feet. Some people really didn't like us, but we'd had our first 2 CD release shows there, and always sold at least 10 CDs, and had a loyal following, and which grew as we grew, because we had to get the right lineup to get our sound refined, and just reach out and get some people as kind of our fan base and friend base, and you build on that. When we saw PRN grow too, it's evolved over the years. Some people come and go as people move in and out of town or have families or whatnot, and we still see some of the same people from our early shows at current shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely where there is a core kind of like, people that are just forever have been coming and whatnot. And then there's always so many new faces too.
Yeah.
And it's such a great mix when you can come out and see your friends and, potentially make some new friends too. And I think it's such a kind of beacon in a way, PRN specifically on Saturday nights. It's like, how do you feel? Is there a point where you felt like now it is its own kind of like entity? People are coming, I'm not saying it doesn't matter what bands are playing, and they're going to bring their crowds, and that's why there's always that influx of new people coming and whatnot to catch shows. But was there a point where you were like, people are coming because it's PRN?
Oh yeah, it's been that way for a while. It's become a social construct. You come out to hang out with some people you expect to see there every week. Some friends. Oh, I'll meet you at PRN. You know what that is. There are people there for the bands. There's people there for social hangs, and I think a lot of people enjoy both. They always know we're going to have some great bands, mostly punk rock. Of course, it's punk rock night, and you'll know what kind of people to meet, and you'll see your friends there, and it's a meetup spot. You're going to have fun in a
through
good show.
the years. It's definitely, while it's always going to have a punk rock night feel to it, and there are a lot of punk rock bands. Obviously, there are also a lot of bands that have come through that certainly aren't what you would classify as punk rock. And I think it's great though, because it's punk rock adjacent usually. If not straight punk rock.
If it's not a punk band, it's something that your typical punk fan would like. If it's hard rock or metal or ska or some power pop too, if it's in the right.
Hell yeah.
Exactly. But I mean,
I love
people
power
expect punk
pop.
rock at punk rock night. We all love some
Sure.
good power pop. I mean, come on. But, yeah.
Metal gets on there too.
Yeah, we've got a big metal show at the
you
end of
know.
August. It's going to be pretty epic.
Who's playing that show?
We haven't announced it yet. Some are bands we haven't had in before, but it's going to be pretty awesome.
I'm thinking Megadeth.
Not quite that big, but we almost had Wrath.
I mean, at least Cannibal Corpse.
We'll see. Keep your fingers crossed, but don't hold your breath.
So when GBR got started, you said there's been like some different lineups for GBR.
Yeah.
And I think infamously, if I'm not mistaken, it's Singer is, are we on Singer 2, 3, 4?
Well,
I know at one point
second-
even Benny
Yeah, it was-
did.
we're on our
show,
second
which was-
permanent singer, but yeah, Benny, no good, filled in for us while Doc was out in Afghanistan for the Army. And we've had a few fill-ins. We actually had another fill-in singer, female, for a little bit, because Doc thought he was going to go to the Army. Then he got sent back, so we didn't have a whole lot of time with her. Several drummers. Vic is our 6th full-time drummer, but we've had other two more fill-in drummers past that, including the button guy, Billy.
Oh man,
It's,
I just feel
we're
like
just
I
kind of saying
remember
that, hanging
show,
around
yeah.
the bachelor party with Benny. It's like, oh, we got most of some members of GBR here. We could play a show.
You guys should have jumped up on the stage last night.
Oh, we could have. Probably could have pulled off a song or two.
And so I
Hell yeah.
honestly left my phone so far behind. So when you had hit me up about the drop off and trying to fill that spot,
Yeah.
I missed it altogether. I guess it maybe didn't end up mattering, but
It's hard to get a band in last
Oh,
minute. Well, they just had to do it the day before. Pilots dropped off and their come-alongs dropped in,
Mhm.
so I couldn't have asked the come-alongs to fill in on another day. You just don't do that. But luckily, like you guys and Mr. Clip played extra long sets, which filled up the time. I don't think anyone complained. It's like, we wanted 3 bands, we didn't get 3 bands. Sometimes that happens.
sure.
That's why sometimes it's nice to book a 4-band show. If a band drops off, it's no big deal. On
Yeah.
3-band shows, the band drops off, you kind of panic a bit, but it worked out great. Ended a little early, but people like to hang out even after the band's play and socialize.
Yeah. And I'm sure there was a lot of hanging and whatnot.
And yeah,
because
since it was a
people-
wedding party, it was a lot of fun hangs, a lot of hugs with everyone.
So through the years, we have done the PRN award show has been a big deal. How did that get started? Whose idea was that to start actually doing an award show?
Greg might have more details, but he always says that it was started as kind of a joke. It's like, hey, we made it 1 year. Let's celebrate and have an award show. And GBR was nominated for What the Fuck Was That award. Didn't win. The band that won is one of the reasons why there's a no fire rule at the Mel. They set the stage on fire. You don't want to do that, especially in a historic building. So they were banned from playing, and they won the What the Fuck Was That award. There was also that year, I believe it was the same band. They got naked, so that's why there's the no male nudity law rule there. One band did it all.
Well, I know the band. Don't say it. It's the Jabs.
No, but I think one member was in the
Oh,
Jabs. You have to ask.
so
Actually,
nice.
if you ever get to talk to Scott Tully from Stealing Volume, it was one of his bands. I actually don't recall the name of it, but he was in that band.
Oh.
He can tell you more.
Rich,
Yeah.
did you have bands before what were you doing before GBR music?
Well, I was in a band in college that had some we're kind of noteworthy and well known in the area. It's about 1991. I was in an all bass band called Wankin Basterio.
Say that again.
Wankin Basterio.
Hmm.
More than one bass. It's a bass in stereo.
Wankin though.
Wankin Basterio. Yeah. Very grungy, noise punk. I had some keyboard too. Actually, Doc from Gay Black Republican was our singer and keyboard player, and he played bass too. Pretty much everyone played bass.
Mm.
It's like every song is Big Bottom by Spinal Tap. But yeah, we were around for a few years. I did a
Is
little
that kind of
tour.
like a Jesus Lizard Big Black kind of feel to it, or
Not too far off. In fact, one of our members was a huge fan of those bands and brought that influence in. So, but there's some recordings out there. We actually have 2 albums. Actually put them online, but a couple of them were pretty well known and infamous, if you will. So that was one of the first bands I was
Well,
in town.
Can you what was made them infamous videos? But
Well, one has had some nice airplay. One of our recordings was kind of so bad it was good, and there was only a few of them, so people were like trying to find them. It's like, oh
Nice.
man, I'm looking all over the Goodwill.
collector's items.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun. But yeah, that was early 90s. Then I moved out to Boston. I was actually in another band before I moved out to Boston in 95. We were called Knot, KNOT, exclamation point. And yeah, we played
Knot.
around. Yeah, we played the sitcom. It was a kind of pop punk band. And since that band's been defunct, some of our old songs, bits and pieces, became GBR songs. Like, oh, I'll just warm up to a riff, a
Mm.
not riff at a GBR practice. It's like, hey, that's a song. It's like, well, you guys don't know how the old song went, so it can be a new song, just a little roots of it from the old song. So
That's pretty cool how things
Yeah.
can adapt like that. And because I know a lot of times when a band breaks up, like I know for me, when I've had bands break up that I had a bunch of songs for or whatever, it's like, oh my
Yeah, you wanna
baby,
use
all
'em
my
for
babies
something.
are dying,
Yeah.
you know. Uh, so you were doing you said you moved to Boston
Yeah, I lived in Boston for most of '95.
and then
Came back here. Yeah, I had a job offer. I moved out there for a relationship I was in, and we split up after 4 days. I'm like, well, I'm going to stay out here. I really like Boston. I want to try out my design skills and maybe play with. I jammed with some bands. I didn't join one though, but like Dropkick Murphys were starting around then. I could have came to an audition and been in that band.
oh man, what could have been?
You know,
It's so funny, like, well, I mean, not funny, haha, but whenever somebody starts a story off like I moved to Boston to be with somebody,
Mhm.
those stories never end with like, and we lived
Not a
happily
happy
ever
ending, yeah.
after. It's always within 2 weeks.
I'm glad I went out there. You know.
So you come back from Boston, and did you just kind of fall back in with jamming with the crew again, or was
Um,
there?
Actually started a new band that was pretty big. Got together with a friend of mine, Matt Summers. He's been in a lot of local bands, and we just started making music. And it's like, "Hey, we should turn this into a band." It was just like drum, bass, and drum machine, and kind of a techno noise rock vibe to it. Lots of samples and fun shit. Like, let's turn this into a band. We had another friend I was working with. Um, Added him on guitar, and then we're auditioning singers. We're going to go without a drummer. Just use those
Use the
samples,
drum
loops, and drum
machines, yeah.
machines. And we auditioned a few singers, and finally we found this girl, Christy. It's like perfect fit, and we became the magical attraction of Booty. From our name, a lot of people thought we'd be funk. It's like, no, it's techno noise rock, kind of in the vein of Garbage or Kidney Thieves, somewhere between those two bands, if you're familiar.
Oh,
Haven't
I
heard of
was
Garbage,
a
but
huge Garbage fan.
we were quite similar, a little heavier at times, but similar vibes, especially with the female vocals. We got pretty big. We recorded at Prince's studio with Prince's producers. Our manager's daughter worked at Paisley Park, so we spent some time in Minneapolis, did a little tour there. We played and recorded in LA a few times. Cherokee Studios out in LA was infamous for making all these great records. Bowie, Motley Crue, huge bands. And we played their like 25th anniversary party,
Wow.
and Henry Rollins introduced us. So that was
Wow.
pretty cool. I don't think he knew who we were. He was just on stage like, all right, got this band playing. So that was pretty cool. Nice to record in a big studio. In fact, something cool about this studio, I noticed there was a bathroom with no fixtures in the studio. It's like that's the room that Tommy Lee had made because he likes how his drum sounds in a bathroom. So they built a little room with all tile. It's just so he can have his drum sound in the studio. That's pretty cool. There's a piano in the studio too. I play one of the few songs I knew with the Motley Crue song "Home Sweet Home." I hear on the loudspeaker. It's like, that's the actual piano that song was recorded on. I'm like,
wow.
holy shit, that's
Man.
pretty cool. But yeah, had some good experiences with Booty. We lasted a few years. Played New York City for the Millennium. Recorded a few albums. Had a lot of fun. Sad to see it split up, but we just not really ran our course. But a couple of people were moving out of town, relationships changing, and just kind of went away.
How it happens most of the
But
time.
there's videos out there if you look for them.
It's really hard to keep a band together
It is.
through the years and whatnot. So many things can happen. People get jobs or start families or, end up getting in fights with each other. I mean, there's
some people don't get along. Yeah.
right? And for GBR to have held it together for, you said
23 this year.
23 years, it's pretty amazing. We're going on like, I don't know, maybe 15 years of
You guys have survived a name change, which is the toughest thing.
and I mean, so technically
How do you keep your fan base through a name change? That's tough.
there's actually been several name changes. People just didn't, Fiber had stuck for so long.
Yeah.
But originally the band was called Idiot Proof, and then changed that, and it would basically be member changes happening.
That's a good band name too.
But as like we would change the guitar player or whatever, we would change the band name, it seemed like.
Okay.
So Idiot Proof became Obedient Pop, then became Fiber, and then we got to our final form, Tight Like a Tiger.
Final form for now. Stay tuned.
And Rich, you can attest because you were at the show where we announced that we were changing the name.
I
And
kind
I think
of heard right before you did it. Give me a little sneak preview. It's like doing a big name change.
I think at first people didn't really like it and didn't think we should be doing it. But
now the people who resisted embraced it, but they still like call you guys a Fiber tribute band,
Oh, yeah.
which is
I like a fiber.
yeah,
we
they're
get that a lot.
which I think it's an affectionate term.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
showing that
for
they,
sure.
they liked you then, they like you now.
Yeah, for sure. They've had a lot of fun with it. Sometimes bringing like protest signs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a Facebook group
Jordan
dedicated
does
to
that.
it.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Rob and Jesse.
And it's so much fun though when people can like have fun with something like that. And
That's true.
at first taking something that when we announced it, I think there was legitimate kind of like, why in the fuck? And no, you can't do that. And because when you've been something for 10 years, but I will say this, I think a award was damn near created because
Yeah. Well, we had a few bands that
Village
year at
Elder.
the Piran Awards, a few bands that changed their name. So we did have the
Yeah.
name change award. At the Piran Awards, we like to kind of fine tune a few awards. We always have
Yeah.
some basic awards, but then we're like, what happened this past year that we can acknowledge with a special award? And that
Mm.
was one thing. And I
That's-
believe you guys won, right?
Yeah.
There you
yeah,
go.
we
Why?
did. Oh yeah, we did.
Congratulations once again.
That's like, I guess we had like a bit of a come to Jesus band meeting. Like, just
know-
feels like we're not.
I know Dennis was a little upset. He told me
Oh yeah,
because he bought a bunch of Fiber shirts
Oh,
right before
yeah.
he changed the name.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with all these Fiber shirts?
yeah.
I still wear mine. I mean, I designed it.
And I mean, we had
like
just
it.
put out our album, so there's an album with Fiber.
Oh, yeah,
on
and
it,
you
you
shot-
know?
We shot that video
Yeah.
while you were Fiber and released it while you're tight
Yeah.
like a tiger. Yeah, that was fun. I loved working on that video.
It was a fun video.
Thank you.
I
We
mean,
still play it a lot.
Oh yeah.
It's such and
Hell
yeah, on some level I don't know that it's really cost us much, and a small price to pay for something that had for us the immediate impact that it did have was definitely felt. So, and I think Tight Like a Tiger looks cooler on the flyers than Fiber ever did, man.
It's toy.
So-
Mhm.
I'll die on
I
that
got a little
hill.
kitty friend here. at the camera.
Yeah, it's the Mona show. Sorry, Mona has to make an appearance every week. So, and that show was at Black Circle.
Yeah,
And
it was
so,
outdoors. Black Circle show.
everybody
It
associates
was a PRN show. at Black Circle,
PRN
yeah.
with the Melody Inn, but it's branched out beyond that.
We got a show, more than a show, a punk market with a show at Longshot. We've been working with Longshot quite a bit because it's all ages. It's kind of artist owned. It feels kind of punk rock since it's got a little bit of an underground vibe, artist vibe, and just working with all the people are really cool. I mean, all the venues we work with have great people, so we're grateful with that, and just to be expanding our part in the community and helping enhance their part of the community. So.
I feel
It's
like
cool in all those
Hi-Fi
ways.
has hosted.
Oh yeah,
PRN.
yeah. We've had a few there. We had
Vogue.
I think the last show there, Vogue. It's been a minute. They've changed staff at the Vogue. I don't have a contact there anymore because it'd be nice to be involved with that X show they're doing. You know?
Yep.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's nice to work with all these different venues. Live Nation, we just had the show with Me First and the Gimme Gimmes there.
Mhm.
We got the Mad Caddies coming up this summer, so it's good to be working with other venues. Of course, we're at the Melt every Saturday night.
And is it you that kind of you cultivates those relationships with those other venues and whatnot?
Yeah, since
Like-
I'm the primary booking person for Punk Rock Night, it's and all the contact forms, if they're filling out something on the site, those go to me. So it's usually me. Sometimes they reach out to me. Sometimes I reach out to them. We work together. Sometimes you never know how shows pop up. Sometimes an agent approaches you. Sometimes you notice a band's going to be announcing a tour, and you just try and make sure these bands that we love don't miss Indianapolis,
Yeah.
because sometimes we're just a flyover city. They play
For sure.
Cincinnati and Chicago, and hey, we're right in between the two.
Mhm.
Come on out. Got a good crowd.
And I think bands that are touring like in vans and stuff, they like Indianapolis does end up being a good location to hit because it's another place right in the vicinity of 3 or 4. So yeah, a lot of the bigger bands that are like you said, they're flying and they're going to fly over Indianapolis, and we don't get some of the biggest concerts a lot of the years. And
We're starting to see
tours
that
come
change
through,
a
but-
little bit, but it's still something we have to work on. Occasionally, I'll have a show where Indy's the only Midwest date, and we get people driving in from Chicago.
Mhm.
In fact, we just booked Authority Zero in September. Yeah, tickets are for sale right now. We had bands hitting us up from Chicago. It's like, can we open the bill? We'll play for free. It's already booked. I'm sorry, but
And PRN has hosted like some really big bands through the years. I know my personal favorite that I recall is when Flipper played.
yeah, it was epic.
And had the singer from Jesus Lizard was
Yeah,
singing with him that night. But
it was awesome.
what are some of the memorable shows in your mind that PRN has put on through the years that had bands at that kind of level?
Well-known touring bands.
Yeah,
Well, I'll have to separate the ones that we have at the Mel to the ones like we have at Live Nation, because it's really big bands we have there. I remember TSOL when they came through, having a band that's been around almost 50 years now, maybe over 50 years, with still mostly original members playing all the great songs, just legends. That's epic. Bands like Authority Zero. Some people, it's like, they're playing the Mel. It's like, yes. And last time they came in, it sounded like you're listening to a CD. Every note was articulated perfectly. They were just raging. They had the crowd in the palm of their hand. It was awesome.
Okay.
I was so happy to bring in Voodoo Glow Skulls, which first time I brought them in, I booked them, but I was on vacation. I couldn't see them.
Yeah.
Damn it, I have to get them back. Unfortunately, did get them back. Need them back too. They've got a new singer now, and I like them even better.
Huh.
So
When's the last time they had played? It's been a hot minute, right?
less than 10 years, but it's been a few.
Yeah. I know we've had Agent Orange, right?
Mm-hmm.
Play at the
One of my favorites too. Yeah, we've had them in a few times. We've had them in other venues as well. Like one time they were on tour. I believe it was Agent Orange, the Queers, and Guttermouth at the Hi-Fi. That was a tour when you have 3 punk legends touring together.
And obviously you mentioned the Queers. I feel like
The Queers are in
definitely
about
come
every
through.
year.
Yeah.
A different venue the last time they were through, but glad they're still coming through town, and they still got their sound. And they're one of the bands that were doing pop punk before Green Day made pop punk kind of a thing. So big ups to them for that, and they still have some great songs. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say, is there a band that you're like reaching out to or kind of like trying to get that
Yes.
you were kind of like there's no way they're gonna say yes, but then like have you ever had like a moment like that where it's like, fuck
Yeah.
we got 'em?
Sometimes every now and then there's a band I want to get in, or listen to the audience, our PRN family. It's like what they like and what we want to bring in. I've been wanting to get the Chats in from Australia. It's tough. I was in touch with their agent, and then they switched agents. It's like so I'd love to bring them in. I know Fiddler would be awesome.
Oh,
Shep's
yeah.
a big fan. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
There's a few bands like that. Of course, we had Circle Jerks in at the Hi-Fi last year. That was a bucket list band for me. I've been into them since I got into punk rock, and it's so awesome to have them in. Plus, TSOL was with them, a Negative Approach. It was an amazing tour. I've been trying to bring in Fear. It's been tough because they're not doing many shows. Leaving is 70, so being front man of a punk band when you're 70 can be kind of rough. And
Right,
you got to be
yeah.
careful, and you got to make sure your accommodations are good. So we've been working with a few venues to try and bring them in, but no luck yet. But
Pain in my ass.
don't give up hope.
I know. Didn't Channel 3 play at one point?
Absolutely, and in works bringing them back too. Yeah, they were kind of under my radar. This was one of those hardcore punk bands that you hear and casually and you like them, but Like, oh yeah, it'd be nice to bring them in because they hit me up. They're like, oh, we're coming through the area, and they were just stunningly amazing. Were you at the show?
I believe so.
It was
I
just
might have missed it.
awesome, and they had a bunch
Channel
of tour
3?
shirts.
Yeah.
Yes,
Didn't we play that show?
No,
who was on that
swear.
bill?
I don't know.
They had a bunch of shirts from
Maybe
their
we
tour in
played for it.
Japan
Maybe, I
in
don't know. I don't think
83.
so.
They had these 1983 Japanese tour shirts. They had like, we got a box of them, we'll just give them away. So a lot of us have those. You'll see them
no.
around town.
I don't think I was there, so wrong about that one. Which sucks because I was actually a fan of them. I think before many people knew what was up with them. 7 Seconds, I think, has come through as well, right? Or was it
Kevin
Kevin
Seconds from 7 Seconds has played the Mel, but wasn't on a PRN show. But he does come back. We'd love to do that.
I was thinking of a different band, but that was the Channel 3 with the Blink 182 tribute and the
Yeah.
Offspring tribute.
Yeah, that was our Blink 182 kind of fuck you because you're charging way too much for tickets show. So we'll have a tribute band, and then we're trying to make it all kind of tribute bands from that era. But then Channel 3 is coming through town. It's like, oh, you're on the bill. Kind of break the theme a little bit, make sure it happens. So it was excellent.
What are some bands that? So you mentioned band getting banned because they had fire and whatnot. What are some of the things that you never thought you would have to tell a band? Like, hey, you shouldn't do that. You can't do that. Like, have you? I mean, you don't have to be too specific about the band if you feel like it might embarrass. But like, just the thing that you've had to be like, guys, what you know?
Well, I can mention the name of the band because they won an award for it. Gangrene played. The singer was on some back medication or something and was barely able to stand up and definitely not in shape to perform. And Gangrene's a pretty well-known band.
Right.
So we had a good crowd out. The opening bands were locals, awesome. And we're all hyped for that. And he's standing up there kind of drooling on himself. I'm like, oh no. Even, luckily, Benny No Good jumped up and sang one of their biggest songs, Alcohol. But other than that, it was kind of a wash. And some people were a little pissed, including us, because we put on a show. When we book a band, there's expectations. Other things behind the scenes happen too. I'm not going to get into. But that was one of those things you got to go through when you're a booker or promoter.
Which I'm sure it's not super uncommon for a band member to be shit-faced coming. Like,
no, in fact, sometimes
you know,
there's this one band. It's like the lead singer, guitar player. She was, you could tell, really buzzed, but played a perfect set. It's like, well, if you can be on something and still play your peak performance, then, well, I guess you got it under control. But there are times where people have been a little too inebriated, drunk, or whatever to perform at their top.
And it sucks when it's a band like Gangrene that you, I mean, they're advertising. It's a big show. People are, you know, familiar with them, and then they come and do that shit. So have you had any times where it was so aggravating, or where you almost was like, why do I do this? Like, do you
I don't think I've ever been that frustrated. We try and keep it cool. You know, you got to have a balance between the venue and the bands and the audience and your staff. And luckily, we've got some great people helping us out. So you know, the pressure's not always just on me when it gets tough, and a lot of people are willing to help too. So I rarely lose my cool, and I just try and keep it going. Yeah, it's tough sometimes, especially when we have more than one show a week. Sometimes, you know, we're volunteers, so that affects my work life and my home life. But I want to make sure these great bands get in front of our audience. So
you are super devoted to it, and to do it week after week after week. I mean, you know, I think about from time to time, like, you know, the Chopped Liver 10th year anniversary. I mean, we've kind of booked some shows and promoted shows, and to do it once every like 3 or 4 months, to me, it's like Uh, and to be doing it just week after week
lot of
and
pressure.
booking and communicating with all those bands and dealing with the bands that are dropping off or hitting you up last
Yeah.
minute. I'm sure sometimes like, hey, can we hop on and things like that. You're taking those calls.
Yeah.
So yeah, a tribute to you to stick with that for so long, because a lot of
Thanks.
people like do not have the resolve to just keep going week after week. It's a big inspiration to me. Like when we started doing this podcast, and I try to think like, if I'm going to do something, I don't want to do it for 3 weeks and be like, oh, it was just like too much, too hard.
Yeah.
And so when you find that niche and you find something that you can do as long as you've been doing it, I think that's really awesome. And thank you
Oh,
for
sure. The support
giving
from
us a chance.
you guys
you
has
know?
helped out a lot too. It's good to share the love, and we all work together to make the scene awesome and get the word out and have some fun together. So
Hell yeah. Actually, I because whenever my brain farts the way that I did, actually, I'll just add myself to fucking camera real quick.
come on, stay
So
on there the whole
actually-
time, Shep.
That show that I was thinking of was back in 2013, and it was actually a punk rock night, Lazy Boy, Sticks and Stones collab, Random Conflict is the band.
Oh,
that
yeah.
I
Oh
was
yeah,
actually
want to bring
thinking
them
of.
back.
They were awesome.
They
right?
are awesome. They've been around a long time and they still had a great sound. I believe they're still together, but the singer's got a side project too, so it'd be nice to bring them in.
Bill, right?
Yep,
Isn't that his
that
name?
is his
Yeah.
name.
I'm still
Yeah.
friends with him on
Oh, yeah.
Facebook.
Should be.
and
Bill
shit.
Should be
Conflict.
friends with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Great times. And you mentioned Sticks and Stones. Shep, do we want to say anything about? I noticed there was a story or a post the other day that was from the Sticks and Stones page. Isn't that crazy?
Oh yeah, yeah. They actually just shared the podcast.
Cool.
It's kind of wild. I thought it was dead and gone.
Wow.
But dead and gone, huh? Yeah, we'll see about that.
But resurrect me, and someday I'll change. I swear to God.
Hell yeah.
So I think we're at a point where we should probably do a Button Guy commercial and maybe take just a short break. Let Rich catch his breath. Thank you again for joining us today, Rich.
Sure.
Great
My
sitting here
pleasure. Thanks
talking
for
to
asking.
you. Can't wait to talk some more, man, after this break.
I'm in.
Throw away.
So tell me again about the thing you have hidden in that fucking stupid video at the end. What
That-
were you like?
Yeah,
What
it's
is it?
it's a thing that went viral a few years back. Some guy,
Is it Goddings?
yeah,
Is that it?
yeah,
Man,
got him.
we were cracking up at band practice the other day. Like Anthony was, you don't know about Goddings? And then you had it in the video.
There you
Good
go.
shit.
Viral.
Joining us, Rich Barker, everybody.
Hi,
And I
this cat.
feel like Shep, it's about time for you to probably hop on the camera here because I wanted to talk a little bit about your guys' project, Sick the Ripper.
Playing Saturday.
And you got a show coming up on Saturday. How did Sick the Ripper form?
Jeff, you gonna start this?
Shit. And hold on.
Man, I came out with a
no,
with a
it's
tough
already-
question right out the gate.
Yeah,
man.
Hold on, let me get my things set up.
I threw everything off. It was like, damn.
We were in a
one that
band
we didn't
called
wanna-
Project X together. Patient X.
Patient X.
That kind of
right,
fizzled
right,
out
yeah.
and mutated into Sick the
There's-
Ripper.
Yeah, Sick the Ripper. There's the flyer, by the way, for
There we go.
show next week.
It is Maria Cadaver's birthday. She's hosting the
yeah.
show. So, and a great freaking lineup. Look at that. It's bands she suggested. So, Bone Daddy, Lustkill, us, and Sunset Society. Oh,
Yeah.
it's
gonna be
great
killer.
show.
Killer
Great
show. We love the Cadavers and saw Drew
They were there
and
last
Maria
night.
last
Yeah,
night.
it's great.
Fucking hanging out.
And
Such a good time.
isn't Maria hosting on Saturday too?
Yeah.
I
He-
just said
He
that.
just said that.
Oh, dude, yeah. Sorry, I was like trying to get
It's
the.
all right, sir. You are forgiven.
I was wondering, hey, who is hosting that show next Saturday? Rich?
Probably Maria Cadaver, I believe.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Shot in the dark, but probably make that happen.
Message you and
It's her
verify.
birthday.
Ashley, can you check and see who's hosting next Saturday?
She's warned
Maybe
me and said,
message one of the PRN
it's-
teams.
she warned me and said, it's my birthday. I'm going to be drinking, so I might get a little crazy and sloppy at the end of the night. It's like, hey, that's just going to be fun. Don't worry about it.
That's what we expect. I mean, that's part of the
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
So,
So Sick the Ripper, basically, initially Project X, and it was the
Patient X.
Yeah, it was Patient
I
X.
mean,
project.
It's been so long, we got it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
am I the only one that remembers?
Maybe.
Sorry.
But
All right.
yeah, like just I wanted to do another band, and this was like post Think Tank, and I wanted to do a band that had that same vibe, and naturally, like I was like, Rich, let's do this. And back then we were working with John Trousers Thompson, and
JTT.
we went through a couple of drummers, and then it kind of fell off. And then after the pandemic, I hit up Rich. I'm like, man, let's do this thing. And we kind of, obviously hit up Trousers first, and it just really didn't work with his schedule. So
It's tough to get him to commit to practice time.
yeah, and we reached out. We decided to reach out to Chad Schick, and Chad's like, game,
Yeah.
and from there, like we worked with Derek at first from the Come Alongs, and
Mhm.
eventually we started working with Dennis, and here we are.
Yeah.
And we've kind
Over
of
2
formed
years.
into more of like a that's
Finally working on an album that's
Mhm.
partially recorded.
Yeah, partially. Yeah, we just got a little bit more to go, and get it
Excited
mixed.
to hear that album. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
It's
I'm
shaping
sure
up.
it's going to
Yeah,
be
I'm
killer.
excited.
I'm definitely the hang up. I'm sure you can probably hear it in my voice why. So I'm still
I
struggling
don't think
with
we're in a rush. We're going to do it right, make it sound right. But we're
Yes.
self-producing, so we're all putting in whatever we can to make it awesome.
Yeah.
So,
And take your time and
yeah,
do
that
it
means there's no
right
rush. It's
and-
not like we're burning studio time.
mhm.
So
Yeah, there was like a solid like month period where it's like I probably was ready to lay down those
Yeah.
tracks, and then boom.
we started it in January. I actually recorded the drum tracks at the Mel. It's like, where can we record that has a stage, a lot of mics? We talked Rob into letting us borrow the Mel for a couple nights and got the drums tracked really well. So
Nice. I think there's going to be some real good music come out over the next like year or so. Some good albums.
I think so.
and-
Not only bands have been around a long time recording, like GBR's in the studio next month. All these new bands, it's like, oh, these guys are awesome. Can't wait till they record something.
Yeah.
Lots of new bands in town.
We're definitely itching and trying to kind of plot and plan to get Red Lighters recording, and we've talked a lot about getting a new Tight Like a Tiger album recorded too. So it's in the air, and I think it's going to be a big year for new music, new album drops and shit. So,
I mean, I don't know. For me personally, it's like like every band I'm in is like right in that pocket where we're recording.
Track. Nice. Well, for those of you who don't know, Shep's a singer for Sick the Ripper. I'm on bass, like you said. Chad on guitar and Dennis on drums. I mean, we're kind of heavy, fast punk, a little hardcore there, a little ska, a little mix it up a bit. Themes kind of vary from horror to nerdy to just living on the streets, the hard life type of stuff. I mean, Shep writes a lot of the lyrics, so
I think it's an interesting box that you guys have for your music and whatnot. Like, I don't think you stray too far in directions that seem weird or anything, but there is a lot of diversity to the songs. And
we got a hip hop song in the works too, but it's still, it's got a lot of rock to it, of course. But yeah, we still need to work on that some more. It's been
can you drop a couple of bars for?
Yeah, sure. Like,
can you spit the rap? Should I lay a beatbox?
Yeah, go ahead. Are you down with the STR? Yes, motherfucker, we know you are. Are you down with the STR? Yes, motherfucker, we know you are.
That's the gist of it.
Never thought we would do that on the show.
We did it though.
Sneak preview. We haven't even practiced that for a year.
It's funny. I used to think that I was good at beatboxing. Like, I really took the beatboxing was my thing from about 4th grade until about high school, when I actually wanted to start playing music. But I was like, the beatboxing was my calling card. And but so yeah, I used to be like, oh yeah, I'm really good at beatboxing. And then I discovered TikTok and realized that I am not a good beatboxer at all. And I feel stupid forever thinking I was good. Like, the shit these guys can,
great, man.
I mean, I can keep a beat with my mouth, whatever. But the stuff that guys are doing beatboxing, like on the big stages now and stuff, it is a whole other level, man.
My nephew, you guys met Adam, right?
Yeah. He does a little.
Yeah. Like his you should check out his album. It's like
he loops.
Wow.
He loops. He's a
looper.
loop player. Okay. So we'll lay down like a beatbox and then a guitar riff or something.
Lay down a guitar. Well, typically starts with the beatbox and then he lays down a guitar and then he'll make like a bass. Yeah.
Chris Huntley does that sometimes on his solo projects too.
Yeah.
It's really neat. Yeah, for those that don't know Adam, check out his music. Adam Zug. You can find him on Zug Z or Z if you're Canadian.
Or Australian.
Yeah, you can find his music online. It's I think he put out an album during the pandemic. So Age of Aquarius.
That was the time to record.
Speaking of albums, Rich, how many albums does GBR have?
We're currently recording our 9th album, so.
Man,
it's a lot of albums, but we've been together 23 years. You'd expect maybe a couple more, but
I don't know.
They're taking a few years in between. First 2 years we put out like 3. Now they're like 4 or 5 years apart.
I would say that we're completely lazy about that, and so for you to be doing a 9th album, I don't know. To me, that's actually really good because we have one to show for 15 years.
Well, and Benny sat in with us. It's such a unique and kind of different take to our songs. We did a little release with him.
Man, and that's like it's either number 1 or number 2. Like, because Benny, I love his voice. Like, I love his sound. Really like with the Enders. And
fortunately, we grabbed him to fill in while Doc was off in Afghanistan because we were asked to open up for Dead Kennedys, and if we didn't have Benny helping us out, we wouldn't have been able to do that show. And of course, they liked us so much. So, when Doc was back, we did a little tour with Dead Kennedys and
TSOL. That's awesome.
So that helped us out a lot. So that was a
Dead Kennedys are one of my favorites.
Bucket list just to see them, but to play with them.
Love them so much.
It's great.
It's awesome.
I love them too.
That's awesome. Yeah. and what a great accomplishment, man. Like to be able to tell your grandkid, to tell
I don't have any kids.
well, not to tell my grandkids.
Tell your grandkids you knew this guy.
You can tell my grandkids someday.
Uh,
Sitting here with greatness.
great adjacent. I know great people.
You're pretty great, Rich.
You are.
You guys are too.
Don't take anything away from yourself.
There's a reason why PRN has lasted so long and has done so well and is so accomplished, and it's because of you, man. Like because of your leadership and how you treat people and how you're always respectful, thoughtful, and you're just a good human being, man. So
thanks. I try.
it's like
I
you
learned a
work
lot
your
from Greg and
fucking
tried to
ass
build
off.
everything off of that. So
Yeah, I mean,
being surrounded by great people helps.
Sorry about today, man.
I'm talking about this cat in my lap. I can see the kitty.
It's funny, and this is Mona that's chilling with Rich, but Craig was running around before the show, and Rich said, "You need to strap a camera to Craig, and we'll have like
The Craig
cam." Yeah. When we get the money to get a camera, we can strap to the cat. Totally doing that shit.
That's one of those GoPros.
I mean,
they make GoPros you
I
can strap onto
I mean,
animals.
I got a cell phone. I just don't know.
It's hard to strap a cell phone to a cat.
That's what I'm saying. It's got to be like a little
An iPhone
camera.
14 bouncing off
Yeah.
the cat's head. I'm gonna like that.
like he's Flava Flav with the chain.
Who was in
necklace.
town for the race? Did you know that?
No, I didn't know
I
that.
saw him in the parade. I watched the parade yesterday, and it's like there's Flava Flav.
It's awesome. Hell
Whoa,
yeah.
that was awesome.
It's funny with Flava Flav because he got on that VH1 whatever it was, like the celebrity house where they all live together,
Yeah.
but it was like kind of B stars or whatever,
Yeah.
like Dave Coulier, I think, was on there.
I don't see
and-
they are B stars. I don't even know who that is.
No,
You don't know who Dave Coulier is?
you ought to know.
Oh man, cut it out.
Get it? Get it? You ought to know.
No, what's he from?
Full House.
Oh,
Uncle Joey.
okay.
Alanis Morissette wrote a song about
Wasn't
him
that into it?
that you ought to know.
You weren't into Full House?
No,
What TV I know what TV you watch is Simpsons
that's one of them. yeah.
religiously. What
It's-
else? What do you, and Futurama and
Yeah,
that whole vibe. What else do you like?
Sick the Ripper
Rich?
has a song about Futurama. I like a lot of the animated shows. Family Guy, South Park. At times, I get in a mood where I love South Park, and then like reruns are on, and it doesn't hit me the right way. It's like, oh, let's see what else is on. But I
It's
still love
probably
it.
seasons 1 through 5.
They've
That's
been
pretty
around
great.
forever too. But
Yeah.
I like sci-fi, I like some crime dramas, stuff like that. Some cool documentaries. Anything Star Wars related, of course. They've just released some more animated stuff. There's a live action show coming out next month. Stuff like that. Star Wars, Star Trek.
Do you like Dune? Did you see the
Yes,
Dune
I haven't seen
movies?
part 2 yet.
You
I
haven't
like the
seen it
original
yet?
Dune better though. I like the old
Dude.
school.
Oh, I
David
love
Lynch.
it.
I brought a
yeah.
gift for Rich and I left it in the car.
Uh-oh.
Damn it.
Yeah,
I'm going to go get
Dune's
it.
excellent.
I'm going to go get it. I'll be right
Yeah.
back. You guys got
All right.
this. You don't need me.
We do. We'll hit that hell yeah button a few times.
Hell yeah.
I could do that.
So yeah, Dune is my top. I love
I
like
see about 3 rows of Dune books over there on your bookshelf.
yeah, I've been a collector and reader of Dune. For some reason, it was just I had seen the David Lynch movie and kind of like have I don't know, because it's like so bad and good at the same time. There's just things about it that
Yeah.
don't hold up super well, like the suits that are the big kind of
The still suits.
yes,
I like those.
or not the
Or the
still
other
suits, the
what?
shields.
The shields. Oh yeah.
When it like
David Lynch
it's a
does
little
sci-fi.
cheesy.
I like
know?
the creepiness it adds in there. It's very
Oh,
David Lynch.
when they come rolling in at the beginning with the film or the space navigator or whatever, the guild navigator, and the guys talking or what, and just like that whole meeting at the beginning like sets the tone. I
Yeah.
love the Baron Harkonnen in
Oh,
that
wow,
movie.
yeah.
Uh,
The cast was great. Sting was in it. Sting.
yeah,
Fade Wrath.
yeah. The new ones though are just
I
like,
like the first part. I still need to see part 2.
I'll tell you, when I saw the trailer for it, and I mean, I'm, you know, a long time Dune fan,
Yeah.
and
Did it live up to expectations?
when I saw the trailer, I cried. Like
Wow.
it had me like, oh my God, they're doing like, it looked so good. But Star Trek, Star Wars, Dune, love all that shit. Big,
Yeah.
you know, sci-fi nerd myself, comic books. Are you a comic book guy at all?
I was big into collecting them in the 90s. I had a small collection when I was growing up. So I actually got some pretty rare ones, like the very first time Spider-Man had the Venom suit.
Yeah.
I've got that old series.
Yeah.
the
Is
Secret
that the
Wars.
Web of Spider-Man?
No, it was actually the actual Spider-Man. They did a spin-off Web of Spider-Man, which is
This,
I
yeah,
believe
I
solely that.
had the first issue of that.
Ah,
I don't think
cool.
that's a super. I think the Venom suit had been already kind of teased in Amazing Spider-Man or whatever that
that's
was
where I
going
got it.
on, and then like it got its own series, Web of Spider-Man.
I got a Captain America where the Red Skull dies. I'm sure he's died a few times. I got the original Sandman series, all of it, because it's a series out now on HBO, and wow, season 1 was excellent. They didn't think that was something they can take from comic to film or TV. And did you see it, Sandman?
I don't think I saw it.
Really good. Do check it out.
I'm a big Superman guy.
Yeah.
And the coolest comic book I ever owned, I ended up selling it during a tough time because it was, you know, it had actual value to it. About $450 comic. But it was the first appearance of Brainiac,
Nice.
but it was Brazilian.
Wow.
So it was a Brazilian comic from, you know, forever
So it
ago.
was
Brainiac, who is Brainiac's one of Superman's biggest.
Someone got that too.
It took me a second, like you slipped it in, and I was.
You got a
yeah.
Brazilian comic.
Yeah, shaved pages.
Give me a Brazilian comic.
But it was super cool to.
When are we going to
have
see
that.
Brainiac in the films?
That's
It's
what
a great.
they
They
kind
keep
of just,
going back to Lex
it's
Luthor.
Lex
you know?
and
It's like, come
Zod
on.
pretty much is.
Yeah,
you know,
great villains, but
right. But we
there's
need
hundreds
to
more
really bring
Superman
out
villains.
the. I mean, Superman's gallery, and in
Yeah.
Batman, we've gotten like so many of
gotten a
them. I
good
mean, they don't
amounts of
go
villains.
too. I think Scarecrow to me is probably the deep cut of movie villains as far as what they've put out.
Yeah. I like Scarecrow in the Nolan series.
Did you watch the Flash movie?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I don't know why some people didn't.
Did you catch at the end when
Nick Cage?
Nick Cage?
Yeah.
There's like a whole documentary about
I've
there was
seen it.
going to be a Tim Burton
Yeah.
Superman movie with Nick Cage,
I know.
and so for them to do that shout out at the like in the
I heard
at that
Nick
Flash
didn't
movie.
get approval. They
Really?
didn't get approval to use that footage. Oh no, it was Nick did, but Tim Burton didn't like that because he was going to be directing that Superman film.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like the Flash a lot, and you get
I
several
liked it too.
Batman in there.
Yeah, it was. I thought
Some
it was
fun
really
twists,
fucking
just
fun.
enough comedy. The CGI is excellent. Really, you're
I think
jumping through time and seeing different possibilities and realms all at the same time. And
super cool.
you know, they had some trouble with the actor before, but he did a great job.
Yeah,
You know, he's gotten into some personal trouble, but I think they were able to get the performance they needed out of him. Great film, Michael Keaton, which, by the way, can't wait for Beetlejuice 2.
yeah.
Hell
The
yeah.
trailers for that.
Seeing that,
Huge fan. Dressed up as him for Halloween.
I
one year. Of
remember
course,
that.
Bronson does a great Beetlejuice.
Fuck yeah.
And or Otho. What was his name? Otho. The other character from Beetlejuice.
Oh, you're gonna get me on
The-
stuff like that.
The big guy.
I'm
The
horrible.
big guy kind of
Yeah.
art dealer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I could sell that.
What would you say your favorite movie series of all time is, man?
Wow. I might just have to say Back to the Future.
Back to the
Mm.
Future.
That trilogy,
good-
solid, amazing. Of course, GBR has a song, Surf Vietnam, which is based on a poster you see at a scene in Back to the Future too.
Mm,
I also wrote in some lyrics that are about Apocalypse Now, since they do some surfing during the Vietnam War. So, little
Hell yeah.
inside info there.
I love I loved those movies when I was a kid, but I loved it even more as I got older and I started to understand that when Spielberg and George Lucas came together to they make this movie, they at that point, if you think about where they were as directors and writers of film, this is like post Return of the Jedi or right in that mix because that was 83 and this film came in Back to the Future came out in 85 and we'd already seen Indiana Jones, we'd already seen obviously like Close Encounters of Their Kind. They brought their powers together and they figured out a way to loop 3 movies into each other like with as many Easter eggs as you could possibly imagine, especially for that time. And it's just to me,
especially after they had to
They are genius.
There's originally supposed to be
Yes.
one film.
The things they think of.
Since they couldn't get Crispin Glover back for the second film, which was supposed to take place in the 70s, really featuring George, they had to rewrite it, which I loved it. They went to the future and kind of had to downplay George since they couldn't get Crispin Glover back. And of course, there's a huge lawsuit that changed film history because they used Crispin Glover's image and he sued. It's like, you don't have permission, you have to pay me. It's like, the studios are like, yeah, you're right. And they had to pay him for that. And now every film and TV show has to do that.
How important is that lawsuit and how often is it going to be pulled in Supreme Court over the next 10 to 15 years? Because I guarantee you it will be in the top.
People are selling the rights to do AI movies like what's his name, Bruce Willis. Can't really get it together to act these days. He's been suffering from some illnesses, so I heard he's sold his likeness and voice to AI for an AI actor to for him to be appear that way. And if people that can be done with people without their permission. I heard Scarlett Johansson just had her voice used in something that without her permission. They asked her, she said no, and then when the voice came out, it sounded a lot like her. So there'll be a lot of lawsuits of that coming up.
It's coming. And that's the thing is now we have the power. Everybody has the power in their cell phone to make AI video likeness of image and voice. And the voice is way ahead of the video at this point. But the voice is disturbingly accurate. Like where there was recently, I know it was somewhere here in the Midwest, maybe Illinois. There's a lawsuit. Somebody got fired from their job because somebody made a fake record. What they did is they recorded a conversation that two coworkers were having, and they took the AI of one of the people's voices and dropped an N-bomb in there. And it went to court, and they turned it into professionals, and they found that this is edited voice. This is not original. So old boy got his ass fired and blah, 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 blah. And the other person. So yeah, it's really interesting where that's all going. And, even Meta is on top of it now, where anything that you have any form of AI.
If you hit a search in Meta, it's AI now. It's not just search bar.
So is Google, by the way. Google, I was just using Google last night to find a music video, and they're also using AI as well. But now Meta's way is trying to be ahead of the game, and anytime that you use AI in any form or way, it has to be noted in your post. If you don't, and they catch you, you're gonna whatever. They love to put people in Facebook jail.
It's everywhere. Even being a designer, sometimes I need stock photos, and when you look at the stock photos, there's a photographer credit, but then there's built-in AI. It's like generate variations. You can hit a button, it'll generate a variation based on that, but it wasn't taken by that photographer. It's like, where do you draw the line? And
I was going to ask because we haven't really broached that subject yet. You're a graphic designer. You do a lot of designing, like for bands and different things. So yeah, when we started talking about the AI, obviously it's going to change that game significantly. But how did you get into graphic design? What is your background with that?
Well, dates back to my junior high days, I believe. I was looking at posters. I just love the display of information with some art involved just really sucked me in. So when I was about 14, I'm like, I want to pursue this. Of course, your junior high and high school art classes really just give you a variety of things that you can explore, and I really grasped onto all that. So I went to art school. I'm a graduate at Heron School of Art.
Hell yeah.
So do you paint as well? Like, what is
I don't
your-
do as much painting. Usually when you go into art school, you go fine arts or graphic design. You have to learn a lot of both when you go in there. But graphic design, a commercial artist, using the computers a lot, as opposed to painting and drawing, which I still paint and draw a bit,
Mhm.
or more drawing, like when you're doing sketches for something, doing a logo or just a layout. There's still some drawing and sketching involved. But yeah, I went through all that and just saw it as a opportunity to use my talents for a career. And I've been freelance for about 24 years, which allows me freedoms to do things with the bands and punk rock night. But I got to do everything on my own, be self-motivated, and a
Mhm.
lot of ups and downs, pay for your own insurance, which has been a huge challenge. And
Yeah,
but I get the freedom to do what I need to for the bands
to
and
pursue your loves and
PRN.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some weeks I do more punk rock night stuff, which is volunteer based, and than I do for my paid job. I'm like, well, I still gotta pay the mortgage here at some point, so it can be tough.
So with the graphic design, what are some of the things that you have done for some bands or whatever that we might recognize, like album covers or
Oh, yeah,
t-shirt designs or something like that?
Logos, T-shirts,
I know you did
multiple album
the
covers.
fiber t-shirt.
Yeah, I love
for
working
us.
with you guys on that.
We
Yeah,
sent
Ultimate
you kind of
Warrior.
like the idea of like make it look like this Ultimate Warrior mask kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
and,
you
man,
guys hit me up
nailed
about that. I'm like, oh, that can be fun. And I try to look at how we can piece together the letters with the mask and make it look like both.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Peter's,
creative challenges and solutions is what I love doing.
Peter's hitting a pretty good question here.
Oh, yeah. I was actually wanting at some point to go through some comments. So let's start with Peter's. Well, it might be
What you got,
relevant.
Peter?
So he's asking, is it harder being an artist or a musician in the Midwest?
Well, it's harder to make a career as a musician. It's just a hobby. I mean, with my bands, it's probably the same with you guys. I mean, we're in a band together. You just hope it pays for itself. You're not going a lot out of pocket.
Mhm.
Like with GBR, the money we get from playing a show, we pocket, but the money we make from selling merch goes towards making more merch. So
Mhm.
that's self-sustaining. We can make a little bit off of performing. So you can't really make a living off that. That just kind of pays for itself. A lot of times the money you get from playing will cover your bar tab. So you kind of broken even. And then there's all the expenses of your equipment. You got to keep all your gear maintained. A lot of guitars
Mhm.
and basses have quite a few. I had to actually sell one recently, but you got to do what you got to do. And making a living as a graphic artist, I mean, that's a little more marketable than just being a painter or an illustrator. I know Peter does a lot of illustration, but you also have a job, to pay the bills. So it's tough. But yeah, graphic design, you got agencies, just big businesses. Everyone needs a website. You kind of farm that out. When I went to art school, there wasn't such thing as a web.
Mm.
The web, it
Mhm.
was in its infancy. You can download shit from servers. That's about it. But now that's the main thing I do is website design. I do all sorts of graphic design, brochures, posters, logos, T-shirts, album covers. Yeah, a lot of website stuff, which involves coding and design. Luckily, I grew up with computers and
I was
learned
gonna
some
say,
coding.
so on that level of that, you said it came along kind of after school. So
Yeah.
you're a lot of self-taught when it comes to
Absolutely,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. What do you think is do you ever like, I know as we get older, you'll see the guy that still writes shit down and they're like, you could do all this on a computer. And it's like, oh, I just like to write it down.
Yeah.
Is there a tool in your graphic design toolbox like that where it's like, yeah, it's probably not the best way to do it anymore, but it's the way I fucking do it. Like that's comfortable to me. Or do you always have to kind of like update what you're doing as things are?
I think it changes project by project. Sometimes I have a vision, can really just hit it, whether it's creating an image in Photoshop or piecing together some type of something. Other times I kind of need to sketch it out. Sometimes the client provides information, which you got to make sure they're happy so you get paid. So sometimes there's strict guidelines. Other times you can use more creativity. It's a balance. Like I said, it's a project by project thing.
Mhm.
But I got some techniques I always go to. You always start with just a lot of times, like doing posters. I like to present all the information that I need to display, and then okay, what kind of
drop
look
it.
are we going for? Because most of I do most of the posters for Punk Rock Night.
Hell yeah.
And that's about 70 posters at least a year, and I've been doing them since 2008. So that's a lot of
That's a lot
posters.
of
Yeah.
posters.
And
And
I
to
have
keep
to
it
say,
fresh.
dude, like, especially, working with you at PRN and as a graphic, like a junior
You do some
graphic
good work.
designer,
Yeah.
you've inspired me so much, man.
Oh, thanks.
And like, it's you have that, you can just feel that Rich Barker art, in your posters, and you do such a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you.
I really respect like how much time and effort you put into them, and you always just do a fantastic job. So
I appreciate that.
Well, I mean, in all fair, some are better than others, Rich.
True.
So,
You can tell my heart's into it. I love the music. I
For
love
sure.
presenting the
I was just-
information. The cool thing about the posters is it's a collectible piece of art
Mhm.
that documents a show. It helps promote it, of course, but it's something that can last forever. And if you want to see a gallery, punkrocknight.com, there's a poster gallery. We can see
You just
several thousand of my
You
posters.
touched on something that I felt like was super
That's just
important.
why
Done by other
earlier.
people too as well. Peter's
here-
helped us out on a few.
hell yeah. Here's the flyer for Saturday that we're playing. And I brought this up not to just drop the show, but the Sick the Ripper logo. Look at that. The blood on the tips of the knives on the peas. What a cool design, man.
Well, thanks.
So cool.
That's something we talked about back and forth in the band. We kind of wanted a classic look, and I'm like, well, how about this 60s kind of poster look? And we went back and forth on it. Just like working with a client when I'm in a band, was like, well, what do we want for the logo? And we throw out some ideas, and it just turned into that. I'm glad we all liked it. We've got T-shirts with that giant logo on it now. We haven't even sold yet, so look for them. They'll be available for the
That's
first time
right.
this
We have
Saturday.
fucking
Yeah.
We have our old Cock Block by Jason shirts. We have a few of those left, but we got the new logo shirts. It's huge on there, so pick some up
Sweet. Sweet.
Saturday.
I want one.
Well, band members got to get one. I don't have mine yet either, so all the band
yeah.
members will get one.
I'll never wear it, but I'll have it.
Some things I design. It's a collector's item. Like, do I want to wear it and wear it out, or does that make it even cooler?
Yeah.
One cool thing we're wanting to do, and possibly us you viewers out there for Chopped Liver can help us out with this. We're wanting to make a backdrop that you can use for photos or a curtain or something made of local band T-shirts. Just
Oh yeah.
so you can see the logo and the
Dude.
artwork. Just imagine a photo
Like
wall,
a patchwork quilt kind
Yeah,
of
a
look
quilt, but
to
the
it, but
pieces
it's
are
all-
shirt size,
Yeah.
and
I
great
got
for
some-
backdrop or wall.
I
or
got
something.
some bangers for you that I just can't wear because they're either like
Bring them
just
on.
too small.
And we've
Yeah.
got people set up to help us
Too
sew
big.
it together too. So
Yeah. I
Bring it
got
on.
some
Cool.
for you.
That'd be cool.
Get you a fiber one,
Yeah.
like with the Abby Hart's
Oh, the
design with the
yeah,
worms and
worms.
the can.
Oh, that's
Hell
awesome.
yeah.
Old school fiber.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I don't want to brag, but
You don't want to
Tight,
boast?
Tight Like a Tiger actually has $400 in our band fund right now,
Well done.
burning a
That's
fucking
something.
hole in our
That's,
pocket.
that's the thing when you
So-
Shep
when you-
stops drinking
when
and
you're
all
ready
of a
to
sudden,
record, you need to have that in your pocket, so you're not going out of pocket.
Well,
Have
in
it in the band
typical Tiger fashion, we're not going to spend it on recording. We're probably going to make some T-shirts.
well, we're fortunate enough.
I think we don't have to spend much money on.
Yeah, we,
recording, so
shout out.
I know how
Ron-
much money you made last night at the show.
Ron Moody of Third Rail. He's going to be recording us, and he's kind enough to like give us that hookup. So shout out to Ron. Fuck yeah, man.
yeah,
Sweet.
can't wait. for
Hell
that.
yeah.
But yeah, we
Heard he can
gotta
get
come
moving.
up with what we're gonna do for these T-shirts, man.
There we go.
But Tight Like a Tiger hasn't had a shirt yet, so
I can help
I
you
feel
out if
like
you
it's
want.
time.
Give me an idea.
I want to draw it.
It's like it's time.
I want to draw a tiger.
How's that
It's gonna look more like a
Red
dog.
Lighters logo idea?
Oh
coming
yeah,
along?
it's going
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks for reminding me for
Man.
the 4th time.
How's this cat get its back leg up over its head?
Oh, those
I
that's
don't know.
those are what cats do.
I had a
Man.
cat in my lap this whole
The cat
time.
That is
moves.
so cute. I'm
Hey,
sorry. I
go
gotta-
ahead.
My
with,
cats, my
before
cats
we
don't get up on the couch often. They'll snuggle up to us other
Look
places.
how
but not on the-
cute. That is the
before we get too
cutest.
far away from it, I can't see them all, but why don't you go through some of those comments and see what we've had in the chat through the show, Shep?
Yeah, sure.
And let's like maybe try not to get too hung up on each one and just kind of.
Yeah, I
2
mean,
minutes
I
tops.
have posted all of them. So let's
Well, we haven't discussed. I wanted to see if there's anything that
pay
is
attention.
worth commenting on here.
So no, I know. Hey, I'm just pulling you shit. Midweek crisis. I don't even have somebody to run the computer, let alone pay attention to the comments. So, kudos. So this is pretty good toss out right here. Peter Gray's house parties got rated, had to get a legit spot, and that was from the Punk Rock Mansion over to the Melody Inn reference on the beginning of the PRN era. Shout out Brenna.
I was at one of Greg Brenner's house parties that got raided where when I was leaving the party, he was in handcuffs on the sidewalk.
Damn.
So yeah, and there was a whole lawsuit which he won because they were trying to get him shut down, calling it it's a speakeasy. It's like, no, it's a house party. Come on.
And then Missy Gravis of Outhouse Super Show / also the band Dwarf Among Midgets said, "Bring back the baked beans," which is like it was a big thing
It's a
for
fiber thing.
Yeah.
I like the
Yeah.
beans.
Yeah. Used
There's
to
still a can.
Yeah.
I've noticed a can. Sick Ripper practices the same spot as Tight Like a Tiger. Got 2 members in the band,
Mhm.
and there's a can of beans down there where I set up my guitar.
Hell yeah.
I don't know how old that is.
I
It
mean-
doesn't look. I wouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
Jeanette chimed in earlier. What's up, Jeanette? I'm glad you're feeling better. You're out of the hospital. We
Yay.
love you. And it's so awesome to hear from you more consistently now. I'm
Definitely.
just so happy that you're feeling better, period. But she commented, whoop, whoop. I love Rich Barker.
Oh, love
Hell
you too,
yeah.
Jeanette. Halloweener forever.
Hell yeah. And Styles chimed in. He mentioned the band Dog Party. Awesome 2-piece sister band.
We haven't announced it yet, have we? But they're coming this summer
They are.
with
Yeah.
some Tight Like a Tiger
Oh, really?
on a Friday
Yes.
PRN show. It's gonna be
Yes.
awesome. Yeah, Dog Party's excellent 2-piece band. Just snappy, punchy, rock punk band. A blast. You'll love them.
Hell yeah.
A lot of great
That's
2-pieces
news to
coming
me,
out.
so-
When you can
Oh,
have
yeah.
a 2-piece band and it sounds like a full band with
Mhm.
at least 3, yeah, you're doing it right. Like Fucked Out
I think
Brains,
Pilots and
amazing
Fucked Out
Pilots.
Brains
Yeah,
definitely come to
Big
come to
time.
mind.
There are 2 go-tos.
Girlwood came through. They're a 2-piece.
Yep,
band
yep.
out of-
Dave
yeah.
said, "Oh, you got to get them on a PRN show." They've been on my radar for a minute. I actually had them booked before the pandemic, so I need to get them rebooked.
We had a great time. They're really good.
I've heard.
Go ahead with some. I'm guessing there was some more.
Bring
in
on the
there,
questions, people.
Playboy.
Sure. Yeah. There was a drop that Jeanette made. They asked Kevin Smith to write the Cage Superman. Also got
Yeah,
happy
remember
during the
that.
part of the Flash, and when Keaton showed up. Oh yeah, that was dope. I love that part where well, I don't give anything away.
What, from the Flash movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Watch the Flash
mean,
film; it's really good.
Spoilers
Yeah, I don't want to spoil.
for a movie from.
A lot of
Like a
twists, just a
year and
lot
a
of
half
fun.
ago.
Action's great. The drama's just on point. So many Easter eggs,
Mhm.
surprises, and unexpected things. I need to
Uh,
watch it again.
You mentioned a little bit ago, and I wanted to go into a little bit the galleries from PRN, and I think that is one of the, in doing what we do with our own kind of brand of promotion and whatnot, be it a zine, be it a podcast, or what have you. One thing that I've always felt like it's important to do if you're building like this family, this crowd that's going to come. One great thing you guys do is get pictures of people, like the vibe and whatnot.
Shep knows that. He's our photographer.
Yeah. That's kind of where I wanted to go is the photography of PRN.
Yeah.
And have when did the gallery actually like start? When did that become a thing?
Well, I think ever since the website, I think Greg and some of the early PRN staff members thought it's like, this is a consistent thing. We've got a music community here. We need to document this. And of course, I've been trying to continue that and still working with Greg and the rest of the staff. I know my involvement with Punk Rock Night, I've played it, of course, in the early days and consistently. I didn't start working for PRN until I noticed that the photos weren't being uploaded. That it would happen every Monday morning. Take a break from work and see if the photos been uploaded. And that had galleries for years. We've gone through a couple websites, and I'll get back to that. But I'm like, well, the photos aren't being uploaded. So I hit some people up. It's like Megan, who was the photographer before then, Meg. It's like, yeah, I don't have the equipment and things are changing. And I think my computer's locked out or something. So I'm like, well, I can help out, Then I noticed the website wasn't being updated. Well, I can help out. And then I became the official photographer, was doing the updating on the site. And at the time, Joe was doing the booking. It was Greg's wife at the time. And she didn't have an audio card in her car. It's like, oh, I can't screen bands. Can you screen these bands for me, see if they'd be good for PRN? I'm like, okay, sure. And she's like, well, why don't you just do the booking then? So, for a point there, after a little bit, I was pretty much doing everything except hosting the show. Greg was the face and the voice of the show, and with all the history, and I was doing all the stuff behind the scenes, make sure everything happened. And we started growing with social media. We got a social media staff going, and of course, Greg wanted to step back, and I took over the main operations and picked up some more staff to help out. Alan was our photographer for a long time, and Shep took over after his wife was pregnant, and he had to run during a show to go. She was in labor and go get their child,
have a baby,
born,
and he just never came back.
Shout out Alan Armstrong.
Yeah, and Shep took over. Of course, we have others helping us out as well. So
sure,
and quite a staff helping us out. But getting back to the galleries, we did go through. Our website was just getting old. The database wasn't compatible with anything else, so I redesigned it using some newer content management. But then all the old galleries were not in the database. I do have them. We're going to slowly add some of the older shows. They're very low resolution. I only have the web resolution photos, and the website's photos were much smaller back then. So you can see them, see what's happening in them, but they're just not that clear. But we'll be uploading some of the old galleries.
Back in the day when if you had like a 1 gigabyte card, it was I was like, damn,
digital. Most of these were digital.
Gigabyte, whatever.
Yeah, 2 megapixel. My first digital camera wasn't even 1 megapixel. And it was fun. It's crazy. I remember taking it to my sister's wedding, and the actual photographer was like, "Oh yeah, it's junk. Digital photography will never be better than film." 3 years later, I bet he was eating his words.
So you talked about how it's kind of evolved, and the staff has come along and whatnot, and you got great people now. At one point, also, it became a non-for-profit foundation.
Yes.
Explain kind of how that. The kind of why, what
I remember
brought that about.
I approached Greg about it many years ago because I spent so much time volunteering for PRN. I'm like, it'd be nice if I could count towards some sort of nonprofit, or if we can get nonprofit status, that people can donate. It'll be a tax write-off. We can get grants and other things that'll help us out. So after Greg retired from running PRN, he kind of took it on to himself to explore building it into a non-for-profit. Took a few years off and on, working with lawyers, lots of fees, lots of paperwork, but we've been non-for-profit for about 4 years now. So it's just good to have that and say I work for a non-for-profit. It's just good to say, and it feels good. And when you're helping something,
you guys,
we've been volunteers forever, but
you guys have certainly helped, a lot of people out and whatnot. And I think when it's the money that comes in and is being used in such a positive way, and I think it has definitely been a good thing that you guys went and
Yeah.
became a non-for-profit.
Just
Yeah.
a couple that come to my mind. Next Saturday, Sick the Ripper's playing with Sunset Society. And it reminds me of the time that Alberto, somebody fucking broke into his car and stole all of his equipment. And here we are. Fucking PRN Foundation swoops in, saves the fucking day.
Yeah.
And then, like at the end of last year, there were benefit shows for myself when I was like on my deathbed, Katie Hurley, Pixie Lish, in those situations where people really need help in our community. Punk Rock Night Foundation swoops in with the cape, with the fucking moon and the safety pin logo, and saves the fucking day. And it's we talk about how amazing our local music and art scene is, and one of the things that we have here in Indy that no other cities have are entities like PRN and PRN Foundation, where there's somebody there to help in the community. And I just think it's so cool.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because Punk Rock Night does more than just books and promote shows. That's our main thing. But with the foundation, we're able to help out musicians and artists and people in the community. They're part of the music scene when they have tough times, like if you're having trouble with medical bills, stuff gets stolen. That's why it's important to help donate when you can. So you can donate on our site in person. We've got several: Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. It helps us help other people in the community, keep these musicians, get them back on their feet so they can keep playing.
What's that link, by the way? I could put that in there real quick.
I might have to look it up. There's on punkrocknight.com. There's a few links, but it might be.
I'll just go ahead and put it up on the
PRN.paypal.give or something.
I just went and put the website. They can find the information there.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, you guys did a car wash, right?
Yeah, here's the thing. We're glad to be part of the Pride Parade this year, so we can show our respect and support for the Pride community, and make sure they know they got a safe place to come hear some great music, meet some great people who are open and accepting. So it's great to be part of the parade, but it's not cheap. Luckily, some of our sponsors have stepped up, because you have to pay a fee just to be considered to be in the parade. And then we have a float. We're building that. There's decorations. We've got to make sure truck rental is our most expensive expense, among other things. So we had a car wash to raise money for that, and really was hoping to make about 300, and made about 500, which is covering most of our car rental. So thanks to the community for coming out to that. Really glad everything went so well. It was our first time planning one, and I got pretty nervous because I know about setting up and planning shows, but car wash is something completely different. And luckily, everyone, Pixie helped out a lot with that, and getting everything planned and put together. And several staff members and friends came to wash. Most of the people coming through to get their car washed were some of our regulars at PRN, a few new faces, but it was just good to see people come out and get involved and
Hell yeah,
help us out. So,
Michael Bischoff being one of those.
Michael,
shout out Michael.
Too.
He's actually the one that bought my bass amp from me and helped me keep afloat a little longer.
Nice.
So shout out Michael.
Michael's awesome.
Hell yeah.
You tuned in?
I'm not sure. Yeah, he does.
He lives by the track, or I think his grandmother lives by the track. Sometimes we'd park it over there. So
that
might be race involved today, but the race, I don't know, is going on.
Yeah,
delayed.
I've been hearing thundering and stuff like that. I'm wondering if that race got delayed to tomorrow at this point.
They can race as late as, I believe, 9 o'clock tonight if they do a late start, if the storms have passed. But that's why they have the race on Sunday, because they always have Monday as a fallback since it's Memorial Day.
Mentioning the race, and it makes me think of a funny story, and people don't know, but so the very first Fiber show at the Melody Inn, and it was on race weekend. It was I think it was on race day, if I'm remembering right. Maybe the night before, but
if it was this Saturday, it was the night before. It's a punk rock night.
It was
I don't think it was
had
punk.
to be
I
a
think it was
Friday night.
no.
'Cause
I think
Friday-
it
that-
was Sunday, man.
Dude, the
I think
Friday
it was Sunday.
of the carb day is like
So here's
typically
the
a
thing.
slower day.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Night
Saturday.
before the race, we made flyers for the show and we went up to the track and passed them around because the night before the race is always a big like party atmosphere
Oh, yeah.
around the track and stuff. And so, we made up hundreds of flyers and walked down through the crowd passing out these flyers. So I'm telling you, it was on race day that we did our first show at the Melt, and there was nobody fucking there. I remember we played with Maravich. Remember that?
Hell yeah.
Great band.
And there was like nobody was there except some point during the set, guy comes walking in, goes towards the back, maybe with another person or two with him, and we played the song Shockmaster. And after we played that, he was like, "Fuck yeah, that's a great song. Play that shit again." And so we played it again. All right, and played it again, and that person was Greg Brenner.
Wow,
And
cool.
so basically from that got future opportunities and whatnot, but happened to play, and Greg came and checked it out, and the rest is history with our relationship, our long relationship with Punk Rock Night. You guys have definitely treated us very well and put us on some great shows through the years, so we really do appreciate that. And we're getting ready to wrap things up. Rich, what are some shows coming up for PRN that you'd like to plug? And obviously, you got the Sick the Ripper show coming up, and GBR getting ready to play.
True.
So we'll make sure we get those plugged. But
Please do.
what are some big PRN shows coming up in the coming month?
I think we mentioned we've got the Punk Market at Longshot on June 7th. It's all ages. The market starts at 5. We'll have about 20 different vendors. Great
It's gonna be
bands,
so
Bingo
much
Boys,
fun.
Pilots, Zan Hughes, and a Theremin featuring
Yeah.
JJ Pearson on drums. And if you haven't seen a punk band with a theremin player, you're in for a treat. And they do this one song where not usually the theremin kind of plays melody and rhythm and stuff. He did the lyric part for a song, and it sounds like it was singing the actual words. It was like
Mhm.
blowing us away. I hope they do that song again. So we got that. The Punk Market coming up. Faya's coming back. It was the day after the Punk Market. That's June 9th at the Mel. If you're not familiar with Faya, Blackheart Recording Records
Hell yeah.
artists. They're
So
amazing.
badass.
Great band, and a stacked bill that night. Zero Boys are coming back this summer.
Can't wait.
We on a Saturday with Round Eye from China
Mhm.
and Billy Bats and the Made Men.
Hey,
It's gonna be a huge
hey.
show.
Good one.
hey, no pressure. No pressure. I would never do this to you on camera or on a live podcast, but
But he's going
can
to.
I call dibs on Zero Boys? Because the last time they played, I didn't get to shoot it. I want to shoot it.
I'm sure that's fine.
Jesse,
We'll we'll get it on the calendar. I don't know.
Ashley's over here laughing.
Definitely looking forward to the Zero Boys, though. There are a couple more, right?
yeah.
And what
Yeah,
else you got
well,
that you
one
can
big one.
talk
We've
about?
got a 3-day Summerfest. It's July 27th, 28th, and 29th. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh,
We don't have the poster for that, do you?
no.
Okay.
no. I
There's a
can fit
poster
that.
with all 3 shows on it. Then each show has its individual poster.
Mhm.
But we got the Corettes playing the Thursday
Nice.
with Lousy Sue and Moose Tooth. The Friday, we've got Thelma and the Sleaze with the new supergroup in town, the something Suitors.
Oh,
The What
yeah.
Suitors?
I think that's it. Yeah.
It's the something Suitors.
It's
They're
got,
so new. It's hard to remember their names.
It's got Jim Kowski in it. It's got Dave
Barhouse,
Barharas. It's
and
got
Justin.
Andy Fark. Yeah,
It's gonna be a great band.
dude.
The Cheap
what a-
Suitors. I knew I'd get there.
Mm.
Do you remember I made that post of the Usual Suspects?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
That was
And the
great.
thing is, like, I made that because I was just so like excited to see that
It's gonna be awesome.
those people in a band.
I may or may not have heard a sneak preview of a song.
And I don't know if anybody really understood the concept of that Usual Suspects, and that's because if you look back over the last 20 years of local indie punk rock, those guys, all 5 of those people in that band are in some of the absolute slapping best fucking bands
Yeah.
this town has ever seen.
It's like when we had the
And-
last four in a few.
Yes,
last week.
exactly.
Legends forming super groups in town. Don't miss them.
So when I say usual suspects in that post, it's like these are the guys. You
Yeah.
know, it's such a great
When
like
they
I
get together,
can't
it can only
wait.
be amazing.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the Friday, and then the Saturday we've got Haley and the Crushers,
Hell yeah.
Shakira Chinchilla, and one other band. I can't remember everything, but we're gonna, since it's 3 days, it's a punk fest. You can just go to each individual show and pay that cover, or we're doing SPF 25. It's like the bottle of suntan lotion. SPF
Mhm.
Summer Punk Fest, $25 gets you in
Get
all
you
three
all
shows.
three of them
There
for
you go.
$25.
Yeah.
Can't beat that. You know.
Hell yeah.
Gonna be awesome.
So pre-order those tickets.
We'll probably
right?
give you some
That'll
free
be-
shit too for buying a 3-day pass. So
Yeah,
rubber
a Schlitz
bracelet or
hat or Jägermeister
Hell yeah.
bracelet.
yeah. So
We're-
more sponsors.
before we start kicking out jams, I Sabbath coming real quick. Super stoked about the Punk Fest. Punk Rock Night has been needing one for years. Hell
Oh,
yeah.
Well, thanks.
And hopefully this is the first one, and next year will be the first annual.
Well, it kind of pieced together because we had a Thursday show and a Saturday show. It's like, well, why not do a Friday show and call it a fest? I worked with Dave Brown, who books,
Mhm.
I book the Saturday shows at the Mel. If it's any other day of the week, he books it. If it's a punk band, or if we've got a band coming through town that's not on a Saturday, I got to work with him,
Mhm,
make sure it's
mhm.
cool, and we all work together quite well.
S-
Yeah, Sabbath, you're right. It's good to have a punk fest. Good to have you as part of the PRN family.
Hell yeah. Love you, Savvy. So before I forget, I grabbed this book for you. I feel like I got this when I was a kid. It was like the first book I ever bought with my own money. And I just think that you would like it. It's Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back.
Just celebrated 40-year anniversary this week.
Hell yeah. So I brought that
Well,
for you.
thank you,
bud.
Shep.
Cheers.
Excellent. The
Uh-huh.
Force is generally with us. I have to say at this point, I may or may not be wearing Star Wars underwear
right
right now.
Some things are just meant to be.
May the
Thanks,
force
Shep.
be with you, Rich.
It has been.
And in your
And
shorts.
comfort and support.
Use the Schwartz. Oh, that's a different movie. All right. So we're going to wrap things up for you guys. We're going to give some shout outs here to shows that you may want to check out coming up this week. So on Wednesday, the 29th, that's my daughter Olivia's birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday, Olivia.
Man,
There you go.
Filth, Second Death, and Furious and Snake Father are playing at the Black Circle. And I was having a hard time. Sorry about that, guys. If
It's
I fucked
metal.
any of
It's
that guy.
expected.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
Snake Father, that your name is Snake Father.
Long shot.
And then at Long Shot on
Bunkerton Records.
Friday, you got Bad Year, Middle Out, Knives, Sunset, etc. That's going to be a great show. What are you holding up a hand for?
time.
Yeah.
1 minute.
Oh, we're doing fine. Then at the Refuge, Moonside, Free Candy, King Killa, and Misunderstood. Awesome show at the Refuge. Go check that out. At the Mel for PRN, it's going to be the Kilmaine Saints, the Run Up, and Party Monsters on a Train.
Let's go out
Some
Special
Friday.
good
Friday
friends of-
show, yeah.
Oh, that's Friday, and then Saturday the show for PRN featuring some friends of ours. Sick the Ripper, Sunset Society, Bone Daddy, Lust Kill, and that's Maria
Cadaver.
Maria Cadaver's birthday party. So come party with us. I'm sure everybody will come out to celebrate
I'll be there.
the Cadavers. Her and Drew are like just foundational in this town and mean so much to so many people. So yeah, catch the show next week, guys. And I want to thank you so much for joining us, Rich, and
Thanks for
thank
having
all
me
of
on.
you for watching the show today. We'll be at it again next week. Everybody take care. We'll see you soon.